Hi, everyone. Today we want to talk about positioning yourself as an expert. Yesterday we talked about defining your brand, and we talked about that you are the brand, that you are bigger than a book, you are bigger than just a product or a service or whatever the business you're in. You yourself are the brand, need to become the brand. And so we talked about finding your passion, what you're passionate about that drove you to start your business or to write your book. We talked about your brand title. We talked about your brand logo. And so as you begin formulating that, as you begin developing your own personal brand, then the next step is to position yourself as an expert. Lots of examples. I watch the Today Show in the mornings. And so the Today Show has lots of resident experts. Here's Barbara Corcoran, who's on a regular occasion as the real estate expert. So anytime there's any news or anytime they just want to add a story, this is about curb appeal if you're selling your house. Sometimes she'll be on to talk about mortgage rates or just housing prices from around the country. She just makes probably dozens and dozens and dozens of appearances as the real estate expert. Now, she's in the real estate business, and she certainly gets business because of this publicity, but she's here not trying to sell her services as a realtor, but just presenting herself as an expert, giving helpful advice to the Today Show viewers. Jean Chatzky has been on for years as the financial expert, and so she'll be on very frequently. Here's a back to school segment that they did. She'll be on at the holidays she'll be on talking about credit card debt. She'll be on talking about mortgages. She's just always on here giving expert advice related to finances. Dr. Nancy Snyderman is their go-to guest, their medical editor. So any issues at all with health, they have her on and she'll give her comments about whatever the topic of the day is from a medical perspective. And oftentimes they'll have someone, here was a segment they did just on travel rewards, how to use your travel and hotel points. And in this case, it wasn't someone who was as famous as those other three. It wasn't their resident expert. It was a one-time guest who had reached out to them and so presented herself as an expert and got to be the guest giving travel tips. My guess is she's with a magazine or she has a travel agency, and so what great publicity for her. And so you don't just have to be their resident paid expert, as some of those are. You can be, in this case, just a one-time guest. If they like you, you do a great job giving helpful information, they'll invite you back and you can become a regular. Now, this isn't just national shows that do this. Local media. For years here in Florida, we watched a landscaper, Robert Vincent Sims. He had his own landscaping company, just normal landscaper, but he branded himself as the garden rebel. And so he would be the gardening expert on TV out of Orlando, presenting information there of all the different seasons, all the different times to fertilize, times to water, what to do about this type of plant or that type of plant, how to trim, how to fertilize, just all kinds of details about landscaping. And so literally the topics can go on and on and on. Being an expert can cover any area of expertise. And here's why. All media outlets, radio, TV, magazines, newspapers, they all need experts, they need advisors, and they need go-to guests. If you look in your local paper, there'll be an expert. Maybe in our local paper, there's a guy with a wine column that, because he owns a local food business, and so he writes about wine and what wines you should buy. There literally is no limit to the coverage for different areas of expertise. So once you have begun branding yourself and you start positioning yourself as an expert and you start contacting first your local media, like we've talked about recently, you need to think about what advice can you give? How can you be an expert that your newspaper might be able to use, or your local radio station might turn to, or your local TV station might turn to? And normally they won't choose you and say, gee, would you be on our show all the time? They'll say yes once. And then if you do a good job, you get asked back over and over again. Here's the secret. Here's the secret to becoming a great go-to guest, to becoming an expert for the media to use. Don't sell, serve. You don't go and say, "Hi, here's my book, please buy it." You don't go and say, "Hi, here's my products, please buy them." You don't go and say, "Here's my service, I hope everybody will call me." You don't do that. You don't do that. I know that's your goal. You want to sell your products or your services, or you want to get traffic to your website or traffic to your store, or you want people to buy your book. But if you present yourself as someone with something to sell, the media will have virtually no interest in you. If you present yourself as someone with something to offer, then they'll have lots and lots of interest. So your goal is to serve the readers, the listeners, or the viewers of the particular media outlet that you're reaching out to. When I would contact radio stations, send media releases out, or TV shows, I would say, I would love to teach your viewers, or I would love to teach your listeners how to establish a weekly date night. Okay, I happen to have a book about that, but if I just said I'd love to pitch my book, they're not interested. But by me being able to share helpful tips that can help people related to the area of expertise of my book, then I got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of interviews. And always in those interviews, they would say, "Now tell us about your book." My first TV interview on Fox in Orlando, they insisted on putting it up on a stand where it would be on camera the entire time. And the host that interviewed me actually walked out holding a copy and aiming it at the camera the whole time. I mean, they did a great job for me, but if I had gone in there to try to sell my book, they wouldn't have had me on. So the key is don't try to sell your products or your services. Serve people. Serve them. Help them. Give them lots of great expert advice, expert tips, and the media will love you, people will love you, and the result is you'll sell your products, you'll sell your services, you'll sell your book. We looked last week in my seminar briefly at Ron and Lisa Barris, and they sell air purifiers, they sell water purifiers, they sell eco cleaning products for the home. But if that's how they presented themselves, they would never get any publicity. Instead, they came up with the brand title, the Healthy Home Dream Team. I love that, the Healthy Home Dream Team. And so they present themselves as healthy home experts. Because of that, they've been on the Today Show multiple times. They've been on the Rachel Ray Show, the Doctor's Show. They've been on all the news shows. Always because, here's one example on the Today Show. Health alert, is your house making you sick? So they're on there telling people how to find out if their air is bad. Now, all they're doing is eventually hoping to sell their air purifiers. But the Today Show doesn't let people come on to sell air purifiers. So here they are just giving people helpful tips. If they don't use their services, they don't buy their products, they're still helpful tips, helpful advice to make a home a healthier place. We talked also in the seminar last week about David Zinczenko. He wrote his first book, Eat This, Not That, and became the brand. 14 books came out of this, 10 million copies sold. And so he branded this concept, eat this, not that. It was tips, it was advice. And so the reason that TV shows have him on over and over and over is every time he's on, he'll do a different segment, but it's always about eat this, not that. It always stays within the focus of his brand. So it might be Thanksgiving time, eat this, not that for Thanksgiving dinner. It might be Christmas, eat this, not that. Your kids are going out for Halloween. Tell them to eat this, not that. He'll do fast food versions, frozen food versions. Every version you can think of the eat this, not that concept gives him another segment, another appearance on major national TV shows. And that's what's led to him selling all of his books. Here's Dale Calvert. Dale Calvert is a network marketing guru, been around a long, long time. And Dale doesn't send out a media release saying, "I'm a network marketer, come join my MLM company." No, he sends out a media release, millionaire, which he is, and business expert to conduct seminar. Now, if it said MLM opportunity meeting in Kirksville, no one would go. But Dale is a business expert. He really is. I mean, this isn't bait and switch. This isn't something fake. He really is an expert, and he's presenting himself that way. And so the media covers his story. Big article, big picture. And Dale teaches everyone in his organization to do that. So here's the lady, Linda Phillips, that did the exact same thing. He teaches to send out media releases anytime you go to any event related to your business or your career. And so she attended a New Creations conference, whatever that is, and got an award there. So here's a picture of her with the award. She supplied that picture to the newspaper. They didn't send out a photographer for this. And she had a picture taken of her with Dale, who's co-founder or founder of founder and owner of New Creations. And she won a trip, and so there's a picture of her with him, and so that makes the paper. So Dale sends out media releases. He teaches everyone in his organization to send out media releases, and estimates they've gotten $1 million worth of newspaper publicity just because he's taught people how to send out simple media releases and position themselves as experts. Now here's a challenge. Most people don't think of themselves as an expert. You're probably listening to this, watching this, thinking, I don't know if I'm an expert. You are. We are all experts at something. We all have some level of expertise. And so you know things that I don't know. So to me, you are above me in those areas. You are an expert. So let's look at 3 different types of experts to help you kind of get a hold of what type of expert you might be. And you might cross over. You might relate to more than one of these. The first is the researcher reporter expert. And so this type of expert doesn't say, I know it all. They say, I'm researching it all. I'm researching whatever the topic is, whatever the field is, whatever the career or the business is. I'm researching it, and I'll share my results with you. The media loves researcher reporter experts. They love people that can provide statistics that they've collected from other places. They've done research and they've got interesting things to say about whatever the topic is, from health to business to finances, whatever it is. And so media loves researcher reporter type experts. A great example of this is John Tesh. John Tesh has a national radio show. It's on hundreds of radio stations around the country, hours a day. And the name of his show is called Intelligence for Your Life. And they play music. They play top 40 type music. But John gives helpful advice throughout his show. And it's not his advice. It's not his tips. He has collected them. He has people who do the research for him, but they research. And so John, on any given day, he might say, here's 5 tips about how to get a better night's sleep. Here's 3 ways that you can get your work done more efficiently. Here's 3 parenting tips. Here's 3 marriage tips. Here's finance tips. Here's health tips. He covers all kinds of things under the umbrella of his brand, Intelligence for Your Life. And he's positioned himself as an expert, not because he knows it all, but because he researches, collects helpful information, and then reports it to his millions of listeners every day. The next type of expert is the fellow traveler. This is the person that they haven't arrived yet. They're heading in that direction. They're not just researching and reporting. They're moving forward in their field, and they're not pretending like they've arrived. They're not pretending like they're a gazillionaire, super successful person yet, but they're sharing their journey. And that is fascinating because people can relate to it. People can relate to someone else who's sharing their journey. Maybe they're sharing their journey with a particular type of diet or a particular type of exercise. Maybe it's travel journeys. Maybe it's their journey of learning how to become a writer. Maybe it's their journey in website design. Maybe it's their journey in going back to school and as middle-aged. They're sharing their journey. And people love that. People love to hear from someone who is in Europe traveling and they're posting on Facebook, today we went here, today we went there, next time I wouldn't go to this place, or I wouldn't take that bus. People love that kind of information. And so you might be a fellow traveler expert, someone that can just share with people what you're learning related to your business or field. As you're learning it, share your successes, share your failures, and people will love it and respect you. And then the final type of expert is the one we usually think of, and that's the guru. And they can actually guide you because they've been there. In the area of publicity, I'm somewhat of a guru. I'm able to share things with you because I've been there. I've gotten millions of dollars worth of free publicity, and I'm able to just pass on that information. Now, it's all information I learned by doing it. It's all information that I continue to learn. So I'm also researching and reporting, and I'm also a fellow traveler. I'm still getting publicity. I did a podcast interview today, a 30-minute podcast from a radio program in South Africa, of all places. So I'm still getting publicity, and as I learn more about that, I will pass on that information. But I've gotten publicity, I've been to the mountaintop, and I can tell you how to get there. And so that's the guru and guide. So you need to just think about which of those three resonates with you the most. And then here's the key. Regardless of which of those three types of experts you are or think you are or want to become, use every award, every interview that you get, whether it's a local newspaper, whether it's a tiny little radio show, whatever it is, every event that you go to, every appearance, if you're doing a book signing or a conference you're attending, every milestone, use all of that as a building block to construct your position as an expert. In other words, if you've only had one radio interview, you post that radio interview on your website and say, here's a recent radio interview I did. If you then get a newspaper interview, you post a clipping from that paper on your website and through social media, and you just begin to build that. All of those things add up surprisingly quick. As you begin building your brand, as you begin seeking publicity and begin to get it, you will begin to get lots and lots of blocks that you can stack one on top of another. Let me give you an idea of just what that looks like back from my date night chef days. And again, I haven't touched that brand or my website in several years, but it still will give you a good idea. So let me just cut over to a live capture here. First of all, at the top of my website on my media page, you'll see the logo that we talked about yesterday, how that evolved into something that ended up being a picture of my wife and I, because that best represented date night. Then you'll see my passion statement up there, that I was passionate about helping people learn. Then you'll see Food Network. Then you'll see a quote from Mark Murphy, one of the judges on the Food Network show Chopped. He gave me a great review of the book, that he loves the book. The premise is why he became a chef. Then you'll see a date night cooking class instructor with a action shot there of me with a row of people taking a class. Then you'll see Date Night magazine columnist with a screen capture from my Space Coast Living magazine. Then you'll see some web media appearances, Demand Studios. I did 25 videos for them that are on usatoday.com, ehow.com, Livestrong, GolfLink, lots of different websites, and it's part of the Rachel Ray package there that they do for their culinary section. Then you'll see a list of some radio shows. Then there's a screenshot from a TV show and a list of all the different TV stations that I did. And so I just added those one at a time as they came along. One by itself doesn't look like much, but then you get the next one, and then you get the next one, and then you get the next one. And so as people scroll through that, they say, wow, we want to interview this guy. We want this guy to be on our show. So the idea here is that you are positioning yourself not just as an author, not just as an entrepreneur, not just as a business owner. You're positioning yourself as an expert in some area. And the narrower the focus, the better. You can always expand your expertise and present it that way in the future, but the narrower, the better. It's easier, it's quicker, and makes it easier to do lots and lots of guest appearances. Now, what I'd like you to do, this is the end of the video, but what I'd like you to do is look under this video, and you're going to see just some images that I captured off of radioguestlist.com of excerpts from ads of different people seeking interviews. And you'll see every business imaginable, from consultants, from finances to health to authors. You'll see every business imaginable here. So just scroll down and look at all of those different screenshots of different people just like you. These aren't celebrities yet. These are real people, real life, that are getting publicity because they're presenting themselves as an expert. And then below all those images, I've pasted just a couple links you can download or go to, a couple of the full releases from those same type of folks so that you can see what that looks like to package your media page on your site. So it presents you as an expert and sets you up to be interviewed by the media. And we'll talk more about that in days to come. But hope this has been helpful. Go to our Facebook group. Let me know what you think. I love your questions, love your comments. I'm excited to get to help you. I am available, so don't hesitate to ask me anything at all. And I will look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Have a great night. God bless.